own evaporator coil with 3/16 tubing, which would fit inside a 1.5-inch pipe section. The capillary tube is wrapped around the evaporator to get some subcooling effect and drive it down to a lower minimum temperature. The evaporator inlet and outlet will pass through this pipe cap, in addition to a fill port and a well for a thermocouple. The pipe cap with a single hole is for the drain line. After some very messy brazing, here's what the evaporator assembly looks like. And here's a look at that same evaporator crammed into the 1.5-inch pipe section. The edges of the fittings are soldered up to seal them. I use solder instead of brazing because it would make the fittings a heck of a lot easier to remove in case I had to fix something. No bubbles from the submerged pressure test at 300 psi. So far so good. Additional capillary tubing is wrapped around the evaporator return line to maximize the subcooling effect and boost efficiency. A needle valve is then added to the drain line with a soldered-on brass fitting, and another valve with a pressure gauge and flare fitting is added to the fill port for the pipe. There's approximately 200 cc of internal volume inside the pipe. And here's the assembly rigged back up to the ice maker system. After spending a good 15 minutes vacuuming out the system, I backfilled it with propane and let it run. After a few minutes, the pipe started icing up. The system works, but when I try to add more refrigerant, the motor stalls out after a second. This is kind of expected since the compressor was designed for butane, or R600, which condenses at a very low pressure. To remedy this, I installed a 1-gallon buffer tank on the low pressure side of the system. This added a lot of bulk to what had previously been a very compact assembly, but allowed me to add a significant amount of refrigerant to the system while keeping the static charge pressure low enough that the motor would start up without any problems. I also added a valve to this buffer tank so that I could adjust the amount of refrigerant I admitted to the system for a given run, which allowed me more fine-tuning. To further increase efficiency, I enclosed the cold bottle in a foam box which I stuffed with fiberglass wool and closed off. I also replaced the propane refrigerant with MAP gas, which is primarily propylene. The boiling point of propylene is -48 C compared to propane's -42. Not a huge difference, but certainly a noticeable boost. This did bring the condenser pressure from around 150 with the propane to about 190 with the propylene, but the compressor didn't seem to have a problem handling the change. Okay, so here's the whole setup ready to go. I chill down the collection pipe and then start pumping in the ethylene from my beach ball.
7 out of 10 cats prefer Blue Tastefuls chicken to Heinz chicken. Try Blue Tastefuls.
Super hydration. Keeps me 24/7 moisturized and smells like a Fiji vacation.
At -38 C, the pressure is about 320 psi or almost 25 bar. This is another red flag that suggests the ethylene is impure, because at this temperature, condensation should occur at about 16 bar or 220 psi. Based on these numbers, I'd estimate that it's only about 70% pure, with the remainder being either air or hydrogen. Another thing I realized is that while these little fridge compressors can put out up to 3, 4, or even 500 psi, the flow rate becomes absolutely abysmal past around 200. The fact that it took me close to 4 hours to pump down about 85 liters of the gas suggests that an average flow rate of about 0.35 liters per minute, or 0.012 CFM, is what we're working with. The thermal load on the evaporator was so minuscule that I never even saw it move when I began filling the pipe. This means even if I was successfully condensing ethylene at around 400 psi in my cascade system, I'd be moving such a tiny amount of it that there would be practically zero cooling power in the evaporator. Going forward, the fix to this might be to replace the fridge compressor with a rotary compressor, which has a much higher mass flow rate, especially when the inlet pressure is raised. Anyway, once the beach ball was pumped down, I got my collection bottle and attempted to drain the condensed ethylene. And it did kind of work. The thermocouple showed -83 C, and you can clearly see how cold this was from the sinking condensation, but unfortunately my flow rate was way too high.
I hate it when my flow rate is way too high. Alright, I need 1 morphine, 1 T-plug, and a bunch of little Tashankas. Or croutons to craft little Tashankas. Oh, there's Killa. I don't think I can kill him. At least not without some massive cheese.
Давай, бля, перца, щеми! Вон он, сука!
Almost missed you. That's a player? Where the hell did he come from? And how did he die? Did he blow himself up? No way. I have some slots. I'm gonna go check the food spawns. I don't know who killed Killa. Huge first raid.
And rather than dripping cold liquid into my collector, I mostly just blasted it back out the inlet and it evaporated in the air. Unlike the dry ice I made in a previous video, there's no frozen chunks that get stuck to the walls in the container, so everything just escapes pretty easily. So yeah, all that hard work basically just got pissed away in a couple of seconds by some bad planning. Kind of a good analogy for life, actually. I think I bit off a little more than I could chew, so this project is definitely going to need a part 2 video where I correct some of my mistakes. It's not a total loss though. First of all, I did technically achieve cascade refrigeration, even if it was open.
Everyone's always subtracting from your paycheck. Isn't it about time someone added to it?
In this video, I'm going to improve on my cascade refrigeration system from last time and reach a minimum temperature of -112°C. In my last video, I demonstrated how cascade refrigeration works and how it can be potentially used to reach cryogenic temperatures if it's implemented right. However, I wasn't very satisfied with the results of that video, so I've spent some time trying to make some improvements. The biggest issue seemed to be that the ethylene I was using as a second stage refrigerant was highly contaminated with hydrogen, which reduced the partial pressure of the ethylene, causing the mixture to require a much higher total pressure to condense. In an attempt to purify the ethylene, I tried to condense it and then collect the liquid, hoping that the hydrogen would just float away, but in the process I lost all of it because of the high pressure I was discharging it at and the lack of insulation. With a few changes though, this method actually would have worked, which I'll return to later in the video. I'm going to try that basic idea again, but this time with a much smaller container consisting of a 3/4 inch diameter copper pipe in an insulated box which I'll fill with dry ice at -78°C. This temperature should require much less pressure to condense and hopefully make the process much easier. So I filled the box with dry ice and started pumping my ethylene hydrogen mix into the chilled pipe after allowing it some time to cool down. As you can see though, we've got over 500 psi and no liquid whatsoever when I vent the pipe. I'm not sure if there was even any ethylene at all in there. There's definitely something wrong with my ethylene production, so while I figure that out, I'm going to look for another second stage refrigerant. For commercial use, there's R508, which boils at -87°C, but that's insanely expensive and I don't have a license to buy it, so that's out. A close relative of ethylene is ethane, which boils at -89°C. That would be ideal, but from what I understand, it's relatively complicated to make, and I think attempting to do so is outside the scope of this project. In the same neighborhood is CO2. This is actually really easy to condense in a second stage. The problem is that at 1 atmosphere, it's below its triple point, so when it goes into the evaporator, it will turn into dry ice and clog up all the pipes. It does reach -78°C at 1 atmosphere though, so if you could somehow solve the clogging problem, it would be a really good choice. That leaves just one gas, which is cheap and readily available, but kind of dangerous. Nitrous oxide. Nitrous boils at -88°C. Its pressure temperature curve are perfect for a second stage refrigerant, but it's also a powerful oxidizer. I've got to make absolutely sure it never mixes with the propane in the first stage, and even if it doesn't, if the second stage compressor gets hot enough, it could combust with the polyester oil. Finally, even if neither of those things happen above a certain temperature, nitrous oxide will explosively decompose, much like monopropellants used in spacecraft like hydrazine or hydrogen peroxide. Fortunately, it's very unlikely that any of these things will happen because temperatures involved are so low and the amount of nitrous by mass is pretty tiny, and there's no ignition sources in this machine. However, if you're going to load a refrigerant stage with nitrous, you should still make sure it's outside or in a garage away from people or flammable stuff. Also, as far as I understand, nitrous can actually be mixed with synthetic HFC refrigerants, just make sure you never mix it with hydrocarbons or anything else flammable. This leaves just one question: where do we get it? Well, I could go to a racing shop and get it in 20+ pound tanks and spend hundreds of dollars for a new tank, but I don't need that much for a tiny refrigeration system. Fortunately, the food industry has us covered. A unique property of nitrous oxide is that it can dissolve in fat cells and it's non-toxic, so it's used as an aerosol for dispensing whipped cream. It can be bought online or in some grocery stores as packs of 8-gram cartridges, which are then used to pressurize a container full of cream. I bought one of these packs and a whipped cream dispenser, then 3D printed an adapter for a barb fitting so that I could flow the gas into one of my beach balls for collection. The adapter doesn't really need to withstand much pressure, so a 3D printed block with some glue to seal it worked just fine. When filled, the can actually carries a decent amount of pressure, as you can see here. I grab my trusty beach ball and start filling it one tiny canister at a time. After a couple minutes, I've got about 100 liters of nitrous and the can is freezing cold. Then I pump the nitrous into my condenser. At minus 40°C, it reads about 120 psi gauge, which is precisely what it should be. I was suspicious that my gauge may have been reading high in previous tests, but based on these measurements, it's exactly where it needs to be. I'm going to put a naked thermocouple directly in the path of the discharge from the condenser to see what temperature the nitrous reaches when it hits the atmosphere and expands.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
We initially
Mission statement is the same. 1 T-plug, 1 morphine. And that's about it. I could also try to complete Grenadier today. Start looting some grenade boxes. Quite a bit of XP. Oh, I need that.
Сука, больно-то как! Это тебе,
Uh...
Где ты, а, сука?
Ты куда пошел?
Oh, no wonder I'm alive. He had Lugers.
Аппетит.
Кепка, кепка! Вали кепку!
Can't believe I killed Killa twice in a row. Back to back. Actually, I didn't even kill him the first time. He was just dead at my feet, and I don't know how. Why so many player scabs? It's funny that Killa's only spawning with this little subgun now. It actually makes him so much easier, rather than him having like the infinite pen laser beam.
Initially hit minus 87C, and the reading bottoms out at minus 91 before coming back up. Considering that the boiling point is minus 88, this is exactly what we should be seeing. Here's a tiny amount of liquid nitrous oxide in a thermos. Now I know I mentioned that CO2 has a clogging problem because of icing, but I wanted to see whether or not that actually stops it from being a useful refrigerant, so I got a CO2 tank and filled a beach ball with some of the gas to pump into my condenser. I suppose I could have just connected the tank directly to the condenser too, but oh well. At minus 39C, we get 120 psi again. Oddly enough, that's actually slightly lower than what I'd expected this temperature, which should be about 140. Maybe the inside of the pipe is a few degrees colder than the attachment point of the thermocouple. Repeating the thermocouple experiment again, I discharge the now liquefied CO2 and get a minimum reading of minus 81C. The sublimation point of CO2 at 1 atmosphere is minus 78C, so this looks about right. I suspect that the couple degrees lower in this test and in the nitrous test are the result of a lower than atmospheric pressure zone right at the outlet, where the high velocity of the gas causes a static pressure drop. Collecting it with a thermos, I actually managed to preserve some dry ice from the discharge. Of course, this could be done directly from a CO2 tank at room temperature, but that's not the point of what I'm trying to do here. With a capillary tube, lid, and steel wool baffle, I was actually able to collect a reasonably large amount of dry ice and filled my thermos about halfway. The only problem was that it was a fine powdery snow rather than a block of ice, so the large surface area caused it to sublimate away pretty fast. Another interesting observation I made was that before the CO2 was discharged, it caused freezing on the valve, which wouldn't happen previously with just cold gas inside the condenser. I'm pretty sure this is because the liquid phase has a much higher thermal conductivity, causing the valve to drop to a much lower temperature. Anyway, the CO2 did actually work when discharged through a capillary tube into an evaporator coil, but the flow was pretty erratic as ice would form, get blown out, then form again. This would cause the evaporator coil to spit little crumbs of dry ice periodically. I only got to minus 56C, but I've got zero insulation here, so I'm sure it would be much colder if it was in a foam enclosure. As for the clogging, I'm not sure if it would run continuously like this, or if a clog would just get bigger until it wasn't possible for the
Can you tell I just killed Killa twice in a row?
It's an interesting experiment, but I still don't think CO2 is usable as a second stage refrigerant, so it's back to nitrous oxide. I rigged up my beach ball and some silicone tubing attached to a capillary tube with some insulation as a second stage.
Old Spice shampoos are scientifically crafted to help make men's hair look thicker, healthier, and more moisturized. That's because they're blended with the perfect mix of cleansing and conditioning ingredients for men's
No,
hair.
he had Lugers.
Try Old Spice shampoos today and rescue your hair.
I absolutely love to pickle vegetables. It's super simple, anyone can do it, and with Bernardin, you can.
Yeah, he had the PP19 with Lugers both times I killed him.
Or just eat them right out of the jar. Visit bernardin.ca for more recipes and ideas.
For the compressor, I used this fancy new transfer pump I built out of a 1/4 horsepower fridge compressor. Everything is attached by soft lines because the low pressure side is at 1 atmosphere and I didn't feel like setting up hard copper lines after making multiple failed attempts at a second stage earlier. The capillary tube I used didn't quite have the right amount of flow resistance, so I control the nitrous flow by opening and closing the discharge valve of the condenser when the tank is close to full. This is far from optimal, but again, this whole thing is just for demonstration. As you can see, when I open the valve, the temperature nosedives pretty quickly. This is being measured from a thermocouple mounted on the outside of the capillary tube outlet. We're not quite hitting that.
I mean, it's no higher than any other 9mm, not significantly.
When the valve opens, so a lot of the liquid is boiling farther downstream where I don't want it to. In fact, if you look at the clear tubing, you can see some liquid nitrous shooting through for a second before the line ices up. The same thing is happening at the collection beach ball, and even though it's several feet downstream of the evaporator, the barb fitting flash freezes when nitrous oxide is discharged. If all this cooling power was focused into the approximate location of the thermocouple, we'd see minus 88C, but for this demo I only got down to minus 76C. That's pretty cool, but I'm not quite thrilled with the idea of using a potentially explosive oxidizer as a refrigerant, so I revisited my ethylene generator to try and fix what I was doing wrong. First,
What the hell is this? That looks normal. Okay, morphine T-plug. That's what I need. Yeah, but what, you're gonna shoot them in the leg and then like watch them bleed out slowly? No, you're not. You're gonna keep shooting until they're dead, so it really doesn't mean anything. The bleed chance on everything it's like a useless stat. It doesn't really accomplish anything. It doesn't increase the damage of the bleed, it just increases the chance that it's gonna cause a bleed. Which is already really high early wipe. Because no one has their health skill leveled. In the gallows or the ghetto, in the town or the meadow, in the bellows, even over the sun, every end of a time is another begun. Give me the loot, give me the loot. Yes. Give me a T-plug, you little bastard. Nor. Oh. Nor. Motor. Do you have a T-plug?
You didn't take my shit, did you? You didn't take my shit, did you?
Yeah, I stole it.
Yeah,
It's all mine.
No, actually, bro. Like, actually, I'll kill you.
Yeah, do it.
Bag check. Bag check. Let me see your bag, bro.
No. No, I'm gonna go extract now with all your goodies.
I'm gonna kill you, bro.
Oh, bye-bye.
Oh, you're lucky I missed this next. I'm not gonna miss this next one.
Yeah. Oh, you got me good. Bye, you'll never find me. That guy's special needs for sure. Without looking down, gliding around like a bumbling dragon I fly. Scraping my face on the sky. Oh no, no, oh yeah. Oh no, oh no, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're not a T-plug, and we won't be a T-plug. There's a filing cabinet in the office I could go loot, but I feel like it's probably already looted. Without looking down, gliding around like a bumbling dragon I fly. Oh, I'm so full of loot. Why not run interchange for T-plugs? I mean, they're everywhere on every map. I hate extracting from interchange as a scav. Every time I go interchange, I take the no bag extract as a PMC because I just don't like running all the way out of the map. Hand drill. Oh, screws. I love screws. Wow.
Who's yelling? Who's yelling? Is that you? Kill him! Kill him! Kill him quick!
Chill, bro.
Hey, did you find a T-plug in that filing cabinet?
You gotta help me. Kill him.
No,
This guy
not
right
that I
here.
know.
Darn it. This guy with the Mosin is a little shit disturber, dude. He's actually retarded.
Yeah, he's bouncing on my bullets. He's bouncing. Help me. Colpack, help me. He's bouncing my bullets.
I have God mode. You can't hurt me.
Bro, nice cheats, dude. Actually, nice cheats.
God mode. God mode.
Help, guys. Kill him. Kill this guy. Blue backpack. He disabled my gun. He disabled my gun.
Get him. Help me.
Get him, guys. Get him. He's trying to run.
I'm behind you.
He's right there. Look. Literally, bullets just bounced right off him, guys. Try it for yourselves. You can't hit him. Try, bro. I'm telling you. That's it.
Oh, you're dead.
Oh, wait.
He flipped him off. Now he's dead.
Good job, guys.
Oh, that guy was broke. That was really funny, dude. That guy flipped off the AI scav and it just killed him. Took that personally? Yes, he did. Dude, he didn't have a single item in his backpack, though. That's the worst part. He just literally broke as a joke. There was 9 minutes, less than, there was like 6 minutes left in the raid, and that dude hadn't picked up a single item. I did get a sweet choke for my shotgun, though. That's pretty nice. I didn't want to stand still for too long next to the special squad. Dude, most of these guns cost more to repair than they do to sell. want to buy a shotgun that's not at such low durability, but I haven't seen him sell one in a while. Mr. Fence, I need a 153, Mr. Fence, or a 155. Mr. Fence, please, Mr. Fence, I need one. Please, I need one. Give one to me. You motherfucker. I fucking hate you. You smell like a peepees. Are there any parts you can get for this? No, dude, you can't do anything to any gun. Modular guns are not allowed this wipe. Wow, 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 wow. In the gallows or the ghetto. 228. What is this one? 212? Dude, mine's better. Mine's better. Oh. Oh, you're not like any better durability though, to be honest. 45k for what? 6 durability? I don't think it's worth it. Okay, what do I need? I still need painkiller. I need 3 kills at old gas, and I need 1 morphine and 1 T-plug. I guess we'll just go customs. Maybe we can find Rashala and the boys. I want to start trying to do the gunsmith task, but it's literally just not something that you're allowed to do this wipe. Oh, no gunsmith for you. I haven't even seen a 60-round AK mag yet.
First of all, there's way too much power going into boiling the ethanol. Several hundred watts are going into the ethanol, creating such a high flow rate that the catalyst pipe can't decompose all of it, so most of it just comes back over as liquid from the condenser output. This is a huge waste of energy, both on the part of the boiler and the extra gas required to maintain the catalyst at target temperature with so much flow through it. More importantly, there's a significant amount of hydrogen being produced, but from a source I wasn't previously aware of. See, when the unreacted ethanol leaves the aluminum catalyst pipe, it comes into contact with the copper line of the condenser. When exposed to copper at high temperature, ethanol catalytically decomposes to a compound called acetaldehyde and hydrogen. The acetaldehyde isn't that big of a deal, but the hydrogen comes over in the gas flow along with the ethylene and contaminates it. So for starters, I'll need a new ethanol boiler. I got this 250 ml flask which I'll stick a resistor inside of to act as a heater. When powered from an adjustable bench supply, this will give me a precise control over the amount of ethanol being boiled. The leads from the resistor pass through a stopper which has a hole for a barb fitting. I'll attach silicone tubing to the boiler instead of a hard copper line like I did last time.
No, dude, attachments don't cost money, they just don't exist.
And is good for your skin without.
The silicone can handle the 80°C boiling temperature of ethanol and is much easier to work with. Let's hook it up to power and give it a try. With 150 ml of Everclear and 80 watts of power, I'm up to a boil in just a few minutes. To give you an idea of how much ethanol is evaporated at 80 watts, let's ignite it. It's enough to produce a pretty impressive flame. I won't be using this much power when I connect it to the catalyst though, probably somewhere between 20 to 40 watts. Next I made this goofy looking clamp out of scrap wood. All this does is keeps the stopper from popping off,
I don't know.
which was a problem before. I couldn't use 3D
Mine listens to music and really loud, that's about
I
it.
was too lazy to set up my CNC to cut metal to do it. The flask goes into a box filled with ceramic wool for...
You're right, I should. I was before, but no one was here, so it didn't matter. Okay, we need old gas kills. 3 old gas kills, 1 T-plug, and 1 morphine. Morpholine. I think I should be able to get the T-plug from in here. If I'm real lucky, I can also get the morphine from in here. I'm probably not real lucky, because when are you in Tarkov? No, you're not real. You guys are my schizophrenia demons. Me, 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 me. That sounds like an AVT, which means that Partisan's over there. Hey, that's the wrong useless item. Stupid. La la la. La 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 la. Here I am. Walk me like a hurricane. Here I am. Me like a hurricane. Oh, ibuprofen. I love ibuprofen. It's my favorite substance. Okay, I did not find any loot. Time to go run away. Is Mr. Reshala, is he over here? I'm scared of Mr. Reshala. He's very dangerous. Mr. Reshala. Hello, anybody home? You silly, silly sausage. I don't think that Reshala is in here. Oh, you're not a morphine. Oh. Another O-scope. I'm gonna be rich, dude. Quadruple my net worth, one raid. Tech crate? Tech crate T-plug? I find them in here all the time. Now that I need them, I'm gonna find nothing. Watch this. Woo! Dynamic loot! It's so good! Half the containers are empty all the time. I can't believe how dynamic this loot is. What is medical about a Geiger counter? Why are Geiger counters in tech or in med crates? It don't make a lick of sense to me, boy. Infinite blood set. Is this sniper scab shooting at me? Oh no! I killed your friend! Oh no. I thought there was more than this guy. I think it was literally just this guy. I'm rich. I have infinite loot. Infinite loot! Alright, let's go. Old gas, see if we can get the scav kills at the very least. I believe in myself. Maybe I can bait some scavs in here. We'll shoot one shot off, we'll go loot the meds underneath power, and then we'll come back. I do have that extract, right? I do, perfect. Oh, I just heard a scav running through the bush hallway. Oh my god, the CMS. Infinite blood set glitch. Wrong useless item again. Would you rather me watch awesome science videos between raids, or would you rather me just play music? I love science videos, they're so cool. I'd really love to get these scav kills. I think I'm gonna hang out here for a second. You see what I see? It worked. I remember when the Krink used to be like the best AK, and now it's super floaty when you shoot it. Especially when you tap it. I really want the 200k and 40k XP that this task gives. I want it now. This might be a player. It was not a player. I hope that counted. What bullets? That's FMJ, I think. If my calculations are correct, and they usually are, I should need one more kill. One more kill. I can hang around, wait for one more. You want that squirrel? What does that mean? Where's the squirrel? I'm scared of squirrels. They're scary. Meh. Excuse me. It's time to go. That guy's bad, I can tell. He's mean. Oh, is that when the girl climbs into like the squirrel pit and then gets sucked into the squirrel dimension and dies? Or does that girl end up eating blueberries and turning big and blue? Or is it a boy that wants the squirrel? So I remember the scene you're talking about. That's the one where Johnny Depp is Willy Wonka, right? Jonathan Depp. It's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake. Always lazy. Never use a messy recipe. Or you'll fucking die. Look at all this goop. Never use a messy recipe. Never use a messy recipe. I don't think I need augmentin. I think I can sell it. Sell that. All these goodies can go straight to the rapist. If the way is hazy. Look, I finally got a scav junk box and it's full already. I have no room. Completely out of room. I'm roomless. One more kill. One T-plug. I really do need a new gun. This one's gonna jam on me and it's going to get me killed and I'm gonna say a bad word because of it. If the way is hazy. Never use a messy recipe. Oh, dude, Express Buckshot actually goes hard. I'm glad it's on Jaeger 1. But this is a stellar round. Absolutely stellar, mate. 83 durability. Good for me. How much ergo do I get if I do one of these? Only 5? Okay, that's probably not worth it. What if I do... Oh yeah, but I don't have that. And you can't buy any of this. Why can you buy... I don't understand. Is there a reason that you can buy one piece but not the others? Let me check. Like, can I... Okay, I can buy... Wait, you can buy all these? Is this the meta? You can buy that. Oh no, I can't buy... You can't buy a bigger tube. So it's pretty much worthless. If I could buy the 7-round tube, I'd run this unironically. I could run it like that. Very silly. Wait, I could run it like this. Dude, that's actually really funny. And I can buy all these parts. Should I do this? Should I give this the old college try? All this is from level 1 traders. Honestly, I probably don't even need this. I can just run it like that. Just a little tube. Little baby tube. What about, where's the other shotgun? Oh, I can't even buy the Benelli? Dude! Wait, can't you buy the Mossberg? Yeah, you can, but it's ridiculously expensive. Oh, you can actually kit out the Mossberg, too. And it has 8 by default. Okay. Okay, so I think the game wants you to use pump shotguns. They're the only things that you can build. That's your thigh holster gun right there. You know, I wish that the pistol slot was based off the size of the gun, honestly. Because if I could have like a little shotgun in this slot, that'd be slick. But the only one that you can put there is the sawn-off, which I can't even buy. For some reason, the sawn-off double barrel is a level 2 Jaeger weapon, which doesn't make any sense to my brain. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Look, I've got aluminum splints. I am afraid to take a stand, to take a stand. Everybody, everybody come take my hand. You know what I could do? I could slap these plates in here. Free up some space. Any gun, any gun, any gun? The Saga is not a bad option, but you can't do anything to it. I've unlocked the 10-round mags, but they're a Jaeger 2 thing. They're quest locked, but they're on Jaeger 2. It's really silly. It's so dumb, dude. You can't build anything. Like, you literally... The best part of the game is building the guns, and you're not allowed to do that anymore. It's banned. Wait, why the fuck is this pump shotgun 50k, dude? It's a pump shotgun! Oh, life is so sad. Everything sucks. 54,000 for the piece of shit Mossberg. What does Fence sell them for? Or M870? Oh, Springfield Armory M1A. Yippee. Still 50k from Fence. That's ludicrous. Doesn't make any sense at all. Can I do anything to this one? You could put that on. Is there a shorter barrel anywhere? The shortest one I can get is 660. Wait, what's the one that's on it by default? Oh, it's the 510 by default. This is not as high ergo as the other one, but you can have a 6-round tube on it. I don't know, man. There's like nothing that you can run. Like, there's just 0 options. Yeah, I mean, the closest you can get to a sawn-off is by buying a shotgun, a double barrel, and then buying the shorter barrel, but it doesn't make it fit in your pistol slot, even if it is only a 1x3 gun. Okay. What do I need to do? I need to go customs again, don't I? I'll be back. Oh no! What happened? The game exploded. Did I find a raid before it kicked me out of the server? I bet you guys liked that sound, didn't you?
For insulation and looks like a weird little trash can when it's all put together. Next, I got rid of my copper lines and condenser and replaced them with aluminum ones to minimize the chance of producing acetaldehyde and hydrogen. There's a chance that a tiny amount might be produced by contact with the brass fittings, which are partially copper, but if it does happen, I think it'll be a negligible amount. After spending an afternoon making a new batch of ethylene, I hooked it up to my condenser and did the open flow temperature test again. Ethylene pressure reads about 180 psi at minus 45 C, which is a tiny bit higher than it should be, but still tolerable. Let's release it and see what happens. We bottom out at minus 112 C. The boiling point of ethylene is minus 104, but again, I suspect this is from a subatmospheric static pressure in the high velocity region of the flow. Looks like I did it right this time around though. Let's do that same test with the closed loop, but this time using the new ethylene. This one bottoms out at minus 84 C. This isn't too surprising since, like before, a lot of the liquid is bypassing the area at the outlet of the capillary and evaporating farther downstream.
Where am I? I'm a minute late. This is not good. This is tragic for the live stream. I haven't found any armor repair kits or weapon repair kits yet. I feel like those are going to save me so much money. I want one. I've been looking. I've been checking the spawns for them on customs. I know all of them. Oh. Where am I getting shot from? Over there. Okay. Kill me behind cover, why don't ya? Head nape? What?
Plus, the insulation sucks. At this point, you're probably wondering, where do we go from here? Well, theoretically, I could build a 3-stage device using ethylene in the second stage and methane in the third stage. But if the ethylene evaporator ran at minus 104 C, that would require about 22 atmospheres of pressure for the methane to condense, which would then bring me down to a temperature of minus 162 C if the methane evaporated at 1 atmosphere. That's a pretty high pressure ratio and a lot of extra complexity. It would also be pretty difficult to tune since I found that higher stages are much more sensitive to getting the capillary flow resistance just right, and that sensitivity is compounded by more stages. It also doesn't get us to liquid nitrogen temperature. To do that, there would have to be a 4th stage that was open circuit in which the high pressure nitrogen would condense at the evaporating temperature of the methane, then get discharged into a collector. I think that 4 stages of refrigeration would be an engineering nightmare, and I don't think I'm ready to deal with that kind of hassle. Fortunately, there's a much simpler way to reach liquid nitrogen temperatures, which involves using a Joule-Thomson cycle on a single compressor, but with a mixture of hydrocarbons instead of pure nitrogen. This will be the topic for my next video, so be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Thanks for watching.
Look at how cute it is. That's the kit, dude. We're rich. What am I watching next? Oh, there's a third part.
This is part 3 of my video series on building a homemade Cascade refrigeration system. Thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. More on that later. In the last 2 videos I made on Cascade systems, I demonstrated the principles but didn't actually make a continuously running system because I had weak little ice maker compressors made for isobutane which don't like running the higher pressures needed for a second stage. This time I'll be using rotary compressors from air conditioners made for R410 which can easily handle upwards of 400 psi or 28 bar and a proper plate heat exchanger to thermally anchor the first stage evaporator to the second stage condenser. For starters, it's time to sacrifice 2 window AC units on the altar of refrigeration content. I got this pair of 5000 BTU units for $50 a piece with free shipping, which were open box but unused, which was pretty lucky since usually a used AC unit locally would sell for at least $100 and be gross. Now I'll do that magic YouTube finger snap thing to disassemble them. I think I used the wrong magic spell. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Here's the compressors and the coils removed from the units. The R410 inside was packaged into a travel kennel and taken to a farm upstate under EPA supervision, I promise. Next, the compressors are placed on a board along with this plate heat exchanger which is inside of a thick foam insulation box. This coil will be the condenser for the first stage, and this one will be the aftercooler for the second stage.
Got me in the back of the head while I was behind a bus. Was I behind the bus yet on your end?
It's okay if the condenser is blocking some of its airflow. Next, I go
or was I still out
and
running out in the open?
1/4 inch copper tubing, either braced together or connected with flare fittings. I had the filter dryers for both stages, and on the second stage I had an oil separator after the filter dryer. This is a Temprite 320 I bought off eBay. The only tricky part about this component is that it has stainless steel tubing coming off of it, so I had to use a silver-based alloy to braze it onto my copper tubing. The oil separator will need a way to drain when oil accumulates in it. I haven't had very good luck with capillary tubes or solenoid valves to do this, so instead I'm going to use the motorized ball valve I found on Amazon. The drain timing will be controlled by an Arduino and some relays, but more on that later. There's the drain valve right there connected up to the rest of the plumbing. Next, I made a coil of tubing that'll go inside this big thermos. The thermos will be filled with alcohol for heat transfer and act as a super cold cauldron of sorts for dipping things into and freezing them. The lines to the inner stage heat exchanger are connected by 1/4 inch flare fittings here. This is the capillary tube for the first stage, and this is the one for the second. The first stage uses a 1mm inner diameter capillary, and the second stage uses a 0.6mm. Next, I brazed these 1/4 inch brass caps to some 1mm tubing. These will be for the pressure gauges, high and low side for both stages, so a total of 4. Both of the low side gauges will read up to 160 psi or 11 bar, whereas the first stage high side gauge goes up to 200 psi or 14 bar, and the second stage high side gauge goes up to 600 psi or 41 bar, since I'm expecting to have it at a much higher pressure than the first stage. I don't use any special fittings to attach the gauges. I simply drill a hole of the same diameter.
It's time. Time to succeed, hopefully. Where am I? Okay, I can run to old gas from here quickly. Look at this little guy, dude. He's so cute. He's a cute little guy. Boop, 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 boop. Did they reduce your stamina again this way? It feels like you can't run at all. I know I have like no soft skills, but it feels a lot worse than it used to. Maybe they did for the hardcore aspect. Hardcore means that all of your PMCs have like asthma or cystic fibrosis, honestly. Scav, scav. Oh. There we go. And I only had to sacrifice an arm for it. Sounds like Rashal is at New Gas. I might just go, like, get myself killed. Unless I find a morphine here. Gun? This is a gun. I don't know what gun. Probably a Mosin. Oh. Shotgun! Yippee! How come the dude that just joined and has sent a single message now has the number 2 chatter thing when Zacordo's been here for the last 2 streams? Make it make sense. Oh, turns out there's 2. It's per stream? Yeah, but Zacordo's typed way more than this guy. And he doesn't even have a badge. Like, you've got number 1, and then this random guy who sent 1 message has number 2. You know, the crazy part about that throwaway kit is it costed me like 130k to buy that gun and to heal afterwards because I died. Like, how are you supposed to make money? That should be some decent cash. I might need these ammo packs for a quest later. I'm definitely not going to need this M700, so it's going to the Shadow Realm. Okay, I still need the morphine. Still need the T-plug. Why can't I can't get, Tarkov Shooter Part 4. Is there like a level requirement for it or something? Am I just not there yet? Excuse me. I want to run guns that don't suck, I really do, but, like, Taz. And we need a T-plug and a morphine. Let's run a factory scav, honestly. No, let's run a reserve scav. Reserve's easy to extract as a scav. Need to run the Mosin. You can't get good ammo for the Mosin. And the Mosin's like 50,000 rubles.
evaporator as the gauge tube in the main refrigerant line and braze the gap. Refrigerant fill valves will be attached in the same way. Next, I do a quick leak check with my air compressor, and after correcting a small leak on one of the gauge fittings, everything seems to be sealed up. The gauges are mounted in a 3D printed bracket, which is placed on an aluminum post. Next, another line is brazed onto the low pressure side to connect the buffer tank, also known as a refrigerant accumulator. This will be a 5-gallon tank, which is probably a bit bigger than needed, but it was actually cheaper than a 1 or 2 gallon tank, so that's what I went with. The tank is just connected with a 1/4 inch flare fitting. The reason a buffer tank is used is because the second stage refrigerant can't be contained as a liquid at room temperature the way the first stage refrigerant can. Because of this, a large volume is needed to contain the appropriate mass of refrigerant in a gaseous state. Now the plumbing is all together. I vacuum out both stages and then add propane to the first stage and ethylene to the second. The last item to stick on is the 12-volt supply for the radiator fan, and then it's time to do a little bit of electrical wiring. 120-volt power is distributed through this little terminal block and goes out to the 12-volt supply, first stage compressor, and second stage compressor through these toggle switches. On the first run, second stage pressure is about 310 psi on the high side and 35 psi on the low side, or 22 and 3.5 bar, which seems pretty reasonable. The return line from the evaporator is iced up pretty good and reading minus 73 C within a few minutes, so pretty good so far despite not having all the insulation put on. The outlet of the heat exchanger is totally iced too.
Oh, hello, Mr. Vet. You want me to take Luna over?
What if dogs actually liked what's good for them? Pedigree pouch, made with real meat.
I love
poultry,
ads.
as healthy as it is tasty.
Because everything's more expensive now, Zaccordo. Literally everything costs like twice as much and sells for half as much. Hello, Linus.
Letting it run for a few more minutes, I'm down to minus 83 on the evaporator, so it's pretty much behaving the way I expected it to. When I blow into the evaporator, a huge mist immediately comes out from moisture in my breath, immediately freezing. Running a single stage at minus 30 or so, I didn't have this effect. I can't even see the bottom of the thermos because of all this frozen fog. The effect is even more dramatic if I run a tube down to the bottom of the thermos and breathe into it. This frozen fog also shows up on the return line when the insulation is off. Minus 83 C is good, but I'd like to be able to reach the 1 atmosphere boiling point of ethylene in the second stage, which is minus 104 C. I tried boosting the performance by installing a big plate heat exchanger to subcool the liquid ethylene with return gas from the second stage evaporator before it's expanded, but it didn't seem to work very well, and I actually got worse performance, bottoming out at only minus 75 C. So I removed the subcooling heat exchanger. Here's some liquid ethylene draining out at 1 atmosphere. This could have easily given me frostbite if it got on my hands. I replaced the big plate heat exchanger subcoolers with smaller, simpler subcooling loops just using capillary tubing wrapped around the return lines, and I actually installed these on both stages. They didn't really reduce the ultimate temperature much, but they did reduce the power consumption a little bit. Running at a slightly higher pressure, I managed to get down to minus 88 C, so I guess that's good enough for now. Let's try deep freezing some stuff. I'm going to add some denatured alcohol to act as a heat transfer fluid, so the whole thermos will be like a little cryogenic cauldron. But before I go freezing things, I want to tell you about this video's sponsor, Brilliant. If you use a hammer, they shatter like glass.
Science.
How about some other fruits? This orange was already cracked when I took it out. My guess is that the moisture inside froze and expanded, causing it to crack open. The watermelon shatters too. That one's no real surprise since it's mostly water. Okay, let's waste something else from the kitchen. How about cooking oil? I tried to lower this beaker full of oil into the alcohol, and then I realized I had no way to hold it in place, so I twisted up some copper wire to suspend it off the edges of the thermos. Here's the result after about 10 minutes at minus 80 C. The inside is still gooey, like partially melted butter, but the outside edges are like hard rubber. I guess I didn't give it quite enough time to freeze. I was able to scoop it out of the beaker with a spoon as one big gooey blob. Now let's try some rubbing alcohol. If I stick a thermocouple in it, it should freeze solid in the middle. The temperature drops immediately, so I guess there's decent heat transfer. Now let's take it out. The thermocouple is frozen solid in the middle, so I could actually just pull the whole thing out by the wire. Like the oil, the alcohol developed a really hard outer surface, but sort of a mushy interior, so I guess I didn't give it enough time to freeze all the way through. The inner stuff is a mushy goo, kind of like what the oil turned into, but even thicker.
You won't be able to drink it after it goes in there.
Gel. Even after it melts, it doesn't go straight to being a runny liquid like water. It becomes this sort of syrupy consistency. Okay, how about something a little different? CO2 freezes into dry ice.
This guy's got a tutorial, dude. You can make your own.
Cascade can actually go a little bit lower than that, so I wonder if I can make dry ice at 1 atmosphere instead of having to compress it and then discharge it. I poured out all the alcohol, and I'm going to feed one of my refrigerant hoses into the cauldron and hook it up to the regulator from my CO2 tank. Of course, if you have a CO2 tank, you can obviously make dry ice by just turning it upside down and opening the valve, but that's not the point of what I'm trying to show here. A frozen mist rushes out through the insulation, even when I just barely crack the regulator valve open. The temperature seems to stay at a steady -78 to -79 as I feed in CO2, which is right at the freezing point as expected. Now let's open it up and take a look. Looks like it worked. The white snow inside isn't from moisture, it's from CO2, so I've successfully made dry ice at 1 atmosphere.
And that's fiberglass.
Into the cauldron. Here's a better look at the evaporators.
Yeah, there's actually a bunch of cotton candy in your walls if you pick through the sheetrock. There's this like funny pink cotton candy in there. You should give it a taste.
-83 inside, which is a little odd. Maybe I actually subcooled the dry ice by a few degrees? Okay, so the Cascade system obviously works, but I'd like to know how much refrigeration power it has at various temperatures, so I'm going to need to run it for a longer time to do some of these tests. To run for a long time, I'm going to need a way to drain the oil separator.
Oh no.
Earlier, I mentioned using a motorized ball valve on a timer to do this, so let's take a closer look at that. This is the valve. It has 1/4-inch NPT threads, which I'll connect to a 1/4-inch NPT flare fitting so that it can be easily attached or removed from a line. It has 3 wires, open, close, and common. The common is connected to ground, and you apply 12 volts either to the open or close wire, depending on how you want to move it. I made a simple Arduino-based circuit to do this on a 10-minute timer with 2 relays, one for switching the 12-volt power on and off, and another downstream to select between open and close. I suppose I could have just one relay that's normally energizing the close wire, but I wanted to have the thing disconnected from power when it's not being moved, just in case. I also added the capability to open and close with manual switches for debugging and inputs for PT1000 thermistors to be read out on an LCD display, but I didn't end up using them. I wired 4 1-ohm resistors in series to serve as a dummy load with an aluminum plate to spread the heat more evenly. I ran tests between 0 and 100 watts on the load resistor, and this is what the graph looked like. 100 watts happens at about -45C, and unloaded is at about -83C. This is with 6.6 amps at 115 volts or 759 watts of input power, so if I divide by that, here's the coefficient of performance graph. It's about 10% efficient down to around -60, and then it kind of falls off a cliff. And as an added measure, here's a percentage of Carnot efficiency, i.e. a percentage of the theoretical maximum. Basically, it's between 1 to 3% of Carnot, which is pretty crap. So how do you improve on this? Probably just a much better subcooler. To illustrate that point, if I ran my mixed gas Joule-Thompson cryocooler with 100% ethylene in the main stage, it effectively becomes a cascade system since both stages are undergoing vapor compression. But because the regenerative heat exchanger basically acts like a huge subcooler, the system can reach its full potential, hitting lower temperatures with lower pressures and power consumption, and managing a decent amount of heat lift as well. Now you may be wondering, what's the point of all this aside from freezing fruits or making dry ice without pressure? It's super cold, sure, but not quite cold enough to be cryogenic and make liquid nitrogen or something like that. For one thing, certain types of vaccines and other medical stuff need to be stored at extremely low temperatures around -70 or -80C, so cascade systems are usually used for this. Another common use is for cold traps in a chemistry lab where unwanted vapors can be condensed or frozen out of a gas stream. For example, when food is freeze-dried, the outgoing airflow goes through a cold trap to freeze out almost all of the water vapor so that it doesn't enter the vacuum pump and damage it. In theory, I could also use this to liquefy methane since -82C is cold enough to start condensing it with enough pressure, but the heat lift is pretty marginal at that temperature, so I'll be doing that using my Joule-Thompson system that I built for liquid nitrogen. Finally, I want to give a shout out to Exotic Chem Lab, who helped me with this project and is planning to upload videos on his own cryocooler projects. Poke. Poke.
Alright, that was sweet. Next video. Because we've got the infinite scav timer glitch. Oh, a Smarter Everyday video just uploaded? Let's go. I love Destin.
I'm about to show you a video of the moment when 2 nuclear plant workers tell me how they really feel about the safety of their job.
I wish the whole public knew how safe what we really did was, considering how dangerous what we're dealing with is. You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think nuclear power would be tenfold what it is today if we had done a much better job of educating the public. A lot of people come to me and ask me, what is nuclear dangerous? I'm like, the people that I know, they retire out, they die of other natural causes, not related. There's not cancer. We don't have all these issues. You'll hear a lot of propaganda sometimes outside of nuclear, but it's just one of the safest things that we ever do.
Because for the most part, it's a very low amount of dose. Occupational dose is exceptionally low, right? So
yeah.
So I mean, for example, we're talking operating the milliram over here, like a chest X-ray is 10 milliram maybe.
A single X-ray.
Single chest X-ray is like 10 milliram.
That room looks like a sped classroom.
Here, maybe, depending on what you do. So
yes, it kind of does.
But definitely not within one trip in the plane.
Right.
This is the second video in the Smarter Everyday deep dive series into nuclear power. I've always kind of instinctively thought nuclear power was a good idea, but now I'm trying to understand it at its core, pun intended. And to do that, we're traveling all over the country and meeting the people that know this stuff, and I'm asking them the hard questions.
Okay,
I'm so
I'm just
excited about
gonna
this whole series.
try
and
to queue into a
today's
different
video
map,
is
I
about
guess.
Radiation and how nuclear workers stay safe. Nuclear is a loaded word. It has an association with nuclear weapons, which is understandably scary. And there's other words like contamination and radiation. If you don't understand what's going on around the physics involved in these words, it can be quite frightening. Those two men that I just showed you in the video, they work around nuclear reactions every day, and they've done it for decades, and they're not afraid. It's clear to me that they have some kind of understanding I don't have. And I'm guessing you might not have that understanding either. We're about to receive training to enter an active nuclear power plant. At the end of this video, you and I are going to enter this nuclear power plant into a special area of the plant that has both contamination and radiation. And the hope is that when we're armed with this new understanding, we're going to be just as confident as these gentlemen are. Let's go get smarter every day and learn more about nuclear power. In the first video, we went out to Idaho National Lab, where we saw EBR-1, the world's first nuclear power plant. That particular plant was a fast reactor plant that also bred new fuel. That video laid the foundation for our understanding on how neutrons drive nuclear reactions. This is the second video in this series, and today we're going to do something really cool. We're going to go to Browns Ferry Nuclear Power Plant here in North Alabama. This plant is a really, really big deal for my local area. It's operated by TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, and it contributes power to the grid for houses all over North Alabama and the surrounding area. So after a long process to get permission to enter the plant, I got a phone call that said, hey, you need to come out and do some training first. I usually shoot Smarter Everyday videos alone, just me and a camera, but every once in a while when something's very challenging, I ask my buddy George, who helps me make these videos, to tag along with me, and that's what we did today. We went out to Browns Ferry for the training, and George and I were talking about it. We were expecting maybe an hour, something simple.
Okay, here we are, Browns Ferry nuclear power plant. We gotta get trained.
Spicy
how to go
rocks.
into a nuclear plant. This will be cool.
This is Bill Ball. Bill was introduced to nuclear power at the plant where his dad worked. He then went into the Navy with nuclear submarines, and now he runs a team at Browns Ferry that's in charge of making sure the plant is operational. This is my longtime buddy, Philip. We've known each other for
Alright, we're looking for one T-plug and one morphine. And, oh no, we can't fit a repair kit. Whatever, not important. Oh. That looks like adventure time. Oh look, nobody opened this. Please have goodies. Yes. Come on. Bastard. Whoa, whoa. What? Show us what you've got. I've noticed this about customs this wipe. All the containers are empty all the time. I don't know why. They're just always empty. Even if you're like the first one to get to Fortress, 90% of the containers are just empty. See, people make that joke, but they're talking about the heat calories, not the actual like calories that you can use to energize your body. It's a different kind of thing. You don't have the facilities to harness the calories from uranium-238. It's not something you can do. Come on, dude. Go ahead, eat the spicy rock. See what happens. See, everything's empty. Everything. Oh my god, screws. Where? Where? I win. I almost didn't win, dude. I was pretty close to not winning. Oh, that's a white flare. I thought it was red. It looked red. Okay, how do I fit the goop? How do I do it? Okay, first this goes here. This goes there. We don't need that. This can go there. Drop that. Boom. Keter, best gun in the game. It wouldn't be bad if you could still buy PSV from Jaeger 1, but it's Jaeger 2 now. And you also can't get the 30-round magazines from level 1 traders. Yeah, I have an underbarrel and 3 and 4 grenades in my stash, just burning a hole in my pocket. Oh my god, the Cayman. I love Cayman. Friends! Hello, friends. What do you have? Saga. 153. No, caiman, like the little alligators, the little crocodilians, caiman. You've never seen the caiman before. You have. I know you have, you dum-dum. You silly dum-dum. Shot through the heart, and you're to blame. You give love a bad name. Does anyone know if the goons are also a 70% spawn chance? I'm pretty sure Partisan is a pretty high spawn chance because I've killed him like 3 or 4 times. I think he does. I think he has a black caiman. Wait, I should loot these. No, a black caiman. That's it. Moderators, twist his nipples off. Moderators, put him in a soda bottle and shake it until his head explodes. You guys are banned. Get the fuck out of here. Let me in. Knock knock. Toothpaste. Lovely. Lovely, dear, lovely. Show us what you've got. WJ-40. What is that? What does that mean? You're speaking in tongues. Oh, Warhammer. Never mind, I understand. Warhammer 40,000. Lock him in. Idiot. Doesn't Henry Cavill really like Warhammer 40k? Because he's a nerd. Nerd! Henry Cavill's a cool guy. Oh, Salewa. I'm gonna take it so no one else can have it out of spite. I'm evil. Dude, I can't find a T-plug now. Now that I need one, I can't find one anywhere. As soon as you don't need them, though, there's 100,000 of them all over the place. You have a T-plug, mister. You do? Can I have it? Thank you. Imagine he shoots me. Do you need anything? Factory far corner. Old gas gate. Let's go there. Seems like an easy way to get out. And there's another med box at old gas I could check. Wait, there's also med underneath power. We'll check power and then old gas and then get out. If I could find the morphine as well, this would be awesome. Incredible. Astounding for the live stream. I like throwing rocks. Could I play Warhammer 40k? Is rock throwing a core element of the gameplay loop? This is an important question. Wow, no meds? It's fucking awesome. Hello? Is it me you're looking for? What kind of game is Warhammer? Is it like an RTS game? You like control an army and like go through a tech tree or whatever? Oh, damn it. So close. What the frick? What the hell was that, dude? That was loud. I thought Warhammer 40k was a video game. It's a very lucrative scav run. Herm. Owie, I hurt myself. Oh my god, that was a lot of tasks. Okay, I could do these two in one. Vitamins. Okay, that's just one of the ones I'm not going to get done for an eternity because of game. Can I build anything in my hideout? Need to save some space. Okay, I need heating. But that's not going to happen because where do you even find dry fuel? I need these, but like, how do I get those? Isn't there a barter for them? No way. Oh my god, 30 wires? Okay, I need CPU fans as well. You understand, mechanical hands are the rulers of everything. I have no more room. Ah. Surely I can sell a blood set. World of Warcraft is Warhammer Fantasy. Well, how come it's called different? I don't understand. Okay, I need director's office key. Luckily I have that. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, I think I'm ready to win the video game. Hey, they didn't change the stash upgrades. Could you imagine if it was 5 million to upgrade your stash one time? In this economy, dude? Oh, that would be awful, brother. Okay, I just need a couple more tubes and a sewing kit. I can do that. Okay, 3 med tools, 3 saline. Noted. 45K to insure a 34K weapon. Huge. 31,000 to insure a headset. That's fucking sweet, dude. Oh, I have no water left? What a fricked up day. Dadgum. That's one I haven't heard in ever. Dadgummit. Had too many concussions. You're just a silly, silly guy. How many concussions have you had? Are you gonna develop CTE when you turn 45? Ugh. Oh! Cool. It aim punched me so hard it threw my guy like 45 degrees away from him. Oh, it's a loser. Oh my god, a loser with tier 4 armor and a black MDR. So cool. I love the fact that this game is unplayable this wipe. IKEA man. And I'll probably just do some tasks until dinner and then probably not fucking play after dinner. Because, dude, this wipe is, like, anti-fun, I swear to God. Like, you never get in a fight anymore because everyone's so fucking terrified of losing their dog shit gear that no one moves. Can I mod this out? No, not really. Wait, you can get that? Oh. No, you can't. There's just like 0 options for weapons to run, dude. There's nothing. Oh god, what happened? This is the wipe of run a shotgun and pray. You gotta take care of your brains, Accordo. It's not gonna get any better. You're probably at your limit. You're probably past your limit, dude. You're probably fucked at this point. Know your limit and drink outside of it. How did you even injure yourself all those times? You like fall downstairs over and over again? Did you drop an engine block on your head? Oh, now I spawned on the opposite side of the map where I need to be. Lovely. At least I can check for Rashala at New Gas and probably die to him. Watch, he's gonna be like up here at the rock ledge where there's no cover to fight him and he just kills me through the trees. Dude, what is my stamina? It's like 0 stamina. This is the wipe of 0. This is the 0 wipe. There's nothing anywhere. Nothing anywhere ever. No stamina, no fun, no weapons. The wipe that nobody wanted. That's what I'm gonna call the video when I post one. If I ever post one. Oh god, there's a lot of scavs there. Excuse me? Do any of you have armor? Oh. John B. Clout Goggles? Yes, sir. Yeah, I know. That's how I got the first 3. It's a good thing this guy missed. He would have one-tapped me. I need those. Don't one-tap me, Sniper Scav. Don't think about it. Leave me alone. Is there a med crate up there? I don't have the patience to figure out the answer. I don't know why, but I cannot find any repair kits or anything this wipe. The wipe that you'd actually want them, I can't find them. I have a bunch of busted up tier 6 plates from Tagilla. And I literally I can't even like afford to repair them. They're so expensive. It's like 100,000. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Are you hurt, Mr. Man? Are you injured? What happened? Oh no, he died! What happened to him? Now what hurt him? Because it wasn't me. Oh, that looks like armor. Yes. This guy's got the right idea. Poor execution. The right idea, though. Oh! Partisan is here. Where, though? Where's Partisan? Holy shit. Hello? What happened? Silly boy. You are dead now. thought I saw something moving underneath the concrete over here. That might have been those guys. What's that? Is that a dead guy? No, that's garbage. I'm a movement playing Lois. Is it a helmet? It's a fake helmet. Ooh, sniper Mosin. I can put that on my gun. No, I can't fit the sniper Mosin. Give me the meat, boys, and cream my hole. I wanna get lost in your cock and balls and be gay. Y'all ever heard that song before? True, bigger rig's a good call. Good night, Linus. Thanks for popping in. Have a good sleep, my little Swedish man. Okay, I refuse to believe that that was a human being that set that tripwire. It's gotta be Partisan. I really don't want to die to Partisan. Yeah, oh, wait. It's Partisan. There he is. He's dead right there. Okay, don't. I'm just gonna disarm this. I don't want to accidentally touch it and die. You think it's worth collecting all these grenades? Probably not, right? Impact grenades are always a good, nice thing to find. I can't fold that, which means I'm gonna have to part with one of my guns. Can I fit that in here? No, I can't. Can I fit that? Oh wait, you know what I can do? I can take the suppressor off and then fit it. If I had a multi-tool, I could maybe justify disarming all the tripwires, but it's just gonna take too long without a multi-tool. I don't think I'm going to. There was a reduced delay nade? Where was it? Oh, there's the box. I do need CPU fans, so I should probably loot these. You picked it. None of these are reduced delay. Do the reduced delay nades even work? Or, oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I see it, I see it. I thought that they maybe removed those. Reading's hard, alright? You can flick right off there, buddy. Are all of his tripwires the reduced delay nades? I do have Grenadier. Let me check some of the other tripwires and see if they're all reduced delay. If they are, I might actually pick them up. I don't have room for it. I mean, I guess I do. It's not dare. It would make sense that the tripwires would be the reduced delay nades. I'll check one. I'll check this one. Ugh. 11 seconds is way too long. I need a multi-tool. Since Partisan's probably going to be pretty common. No, they're just normal F1s. I'm not picking those up. This is all part of my plan. I didn't panic. I just tried to press Z to poop. Are weapon repair kits worth it now? They're both worth it more than they ever have been, because it's really expensive to repair gear and weapons, especially if it's high quality stuff. Like, I have a couple tier 6 plates that cost like over 100k to repair. Armor? Poopy armor. Okay, dokie. Yeah, I know about the spawn over here as well. There's a spawn on these shelves. There's one in that container right there. But alas, there's nothing. I gotta chill. I just got called for dinner, so I'm gonna go get the last quest item, and then extract, and then go eat dinner. Probably end the stream, play some Deadlock with my brother after dinner. Maybe stream again tonight, not sure. Depends on if my girlfriend gets here or not. Or if she lets me. Where even is the thing for this task? What even is the thing for this task? What am I looking for? Oh. Locate and obtain customized toolset. Okay. If I was a customized toolset, where the hell would I be? Chat, find me the customized toolset. I need it. Okay, under the car, by the pipes, under the shelves. I don't see it under there. Ah, found it. Now the real question is, can I get out through here? Yes, I can. Huge. Giant raid. How many PMCs did I kill? 3, right? The guy that I killed first, and then that duo, and then Partisan. Big raid. Alright. I will either see you guys later tonight or tomorrow, I'm not sure. Probably later tonight, honestly.